to move to this is a personal question. Who do you think is a better team overall, the Knicks or the Spurs?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rivalz podcast, the podcast where two friends who are fans of rival teams talk about sports. We're your hosts, Drew and Noah, and today we're going to have our first NBA episode. So, today we're going to be talking about, everything going on throughout the season. So this is our first one.
Here are the topics we'll be going through. We'll be going through the stats, the standings, the Bradley Beal situation in Washington, the rookie stars, some breakout players, the Jazz's huge win streak, and at the end of this episode, we'll have a Q&A with a special guest.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that at the end.
Yep, this one's going to be a fun one.
Yes. Okay, so to start things off, we have the stats on screen.
We're going with the player stats first.
So here are the player stats, not team, just player right now. Points, obviously Bradley Beal leading the way, headlining right here with 35.4. Then Kevin Durant following him with 30.5. And then you can see the rest: Damian Lillard, Stephen Curry, Joel Embiid.
This is pretty crazy because these stats just show how much the NBA's progressed. Because if you look at the points, there's a few, maybe in 2012, an MVP would be averaging about 28 points per game. And right now, Bradley Beal is averaging 35.4. Kevin Durant is averaging 30.5. Everyone, the top 5 players are all already around that range of 28 points. Now to assists.
Obviously, Harden, no surprise there. Obviously, hasn't had his greatest season, just recently getting traded to the Nets. Wasn't really successful after the trade got out. We'll talk about that in future weeks. And then it just goes Luka, Colin Sexton, Chris Paul, Trae Young. Those are all, basically. And then here you can see the rebounds.
Also, another thing is, adding to that too was with the Nets. The Nets, I really think it's just right now chemistry issues. They need to learn how to play together since they're all technically they have to make sacrifices since all of them are really iso ball players who want to lead a team. And also another thing you can see, Nikola Jokic is averaging 8.9 assists per game. A center, a big guy. It's pretty crazy. Jokic, yeah. And then to rebounds.
Yeah, rebounds you can see on the screen. Drummond been a beast this year. And then blocks and steals you can see. Nothing too crazy, just mainly all centers. Obviously for steals, no surprise.
Miles Turner, 4 blocks per game. That's a crazy amount.
Yeah, and then overall the steals, Kawhi Leonard, no surprise. He's won Defensive Player of the Year before. He has two steals per game. And so those are the player stats that we've gone through. So now,
we're going to go to the team stats. Not too many surprises. The first one is points per game. We have a tie at first place, Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks, both at 119.8 points per game. Then you got the Nuggets at 116.4, the Wizards at 115.7. Even though the Wizards have only won 3 games, Bradley Beal, like we said, averaging 35.4 points per game. We'll get on to that later on. Denver Nuggets, we already said that. Portland Trailblazers, 115.4 points per game. Yeah. Field goal percentage, moving on to that. We have Brooklyn Nets with a whopping 49% from the field. That's crazy good.
That's nearly 50%. So half of their shots nearly going in. So. And we'll just move on to the standings. Don't want to bore y'all here. So
these are mostly
standings. Eastern Conference, Sixers, they're leading the charge, 13-6. Have had a great season.
Western Conference, a surprise.
Conference, Jazz. We'll talk about them later, but they're leading it a half game lead above the Lakers. So that's that, and obviously there have been a few surprises.
Let's look at all the surprises so far. We see Cavaliers.
We have
Cavaliers 9-9.
Is probably the Cavaliers.
9-9. They were projected in Vegas bets. They were projected to be the worst team in the NBA, and they're out here at 6 seed, 9-9. Obviously, really quick to say anything about them right now. I mean, we're only 18 games in. Nothing too crazy. The Knicks, my Knicks, 8-11, which is crazy because last year, it took us 32 games to win 8 games. When right now 19 games in, 8 wins, pretty good. Another surprise, the Wizards. I mean, we thought the Wizards would be pretty good this year because they have Westbrook. They added Westbrook.
Together, they could be huge, and obviously young guys.
We'll talk about a little bit about we have one reason to think why the Wizards are bad, and we'll talk about that in a sec.
Yeah, that whole situation. And then no more surprises, really. In Western Conference, it's all pretty straightforward. Obviously,
the Jazz
weren't expected to be too great of a team this year, but they're obviously showing that they are in playoff contention this year.
You could say the Jazz. I mean, yeah, the Jazz are a pretty big surprise. I don't think anyone thought the Jazz would be the 1 seed right now, 14-4.
Yeah, you can say that, but at the same time, Jazz were expected to make the playoffs. Obviously, have a great team, great coach, but weren't expected to do this well.
The Pelicans. People thought the Pelicans might be able to gel, but I mean, Lonzo Ball hasn't been great. But Brandon Ingram's actually been playing pretty well, to be honest. But they just haven't really been able to put it together so far. Who else?
The standings entering today, obviously a few games later this afternoon and tonight. But
yeah, this is all as of this morning, including the stats. Everything really changes drastically every night. Well, I mean, not drastically, but
yes.
It always changes. Alright, moving on to our first topic of the day. We have Bradley Beal needs to get out of Washington. Now, this is it's pretty crazy. He's taken a huge step this year. If you look at these stats, he's averaging 14 points more than his career average. He's averaging 4.9 assists, 5.3 rebounds, 1.4 steals, 48. He's making almost half of the shots he takes. It's just crazy. We have some reasons why he should leave.
Honestly, yeah. He became the first player to lose 10 straight games where he scored 40 points, which is crazy. Obviously, if you score 40 points and you lose one game, it's probably because your defense wasn't great. But when you lose 10 straight, that's just not a good statistic. And so that's just one reason why he should leave. And then here's another. This goes along the lines with points and still losing. He scored 60 points in a double-digit loss this year.
That's
one of his best games of his career, if not the best game of his career. And they lost by over 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is just atrocious on this team. Awful defense. And the one reason I think this team is failing, in my opinion, is the bad coaching by Scott Brooks. Talent's been there, but just not good management at all. If anybody has watched the end of the Bulls-Wizards game, that was 3 weeks ago, not the one that was like at the beginning of the season, you'll know what I'm talking about. The last possession was just absolutely awful. If you don't know, here's basically what happened. There was 5.5 seconds left. They called timeout to drop a play, and instead of giving it to Westbrook or Beal to try and get it close to it, go to the 3-point line and try and take a shot to tie it, they tried to heave it down court to Thomas Bryant, their center, and then they lost the ball and they lost the game, which is just absolutely stupid. 5.5 seconds is a lifetime.
Bad coaching, bad play drawn up. I mean, you had the seconds. So that's just one example. We could go on and on, but we're not going to do that today. But so, I mean, the talent is there in Washington. You have all the talent: Westbrook, Beal, Hachimura. Sorry if I pronounced his name wrong. Thomas Bryant, who's had better seasons than he ever did before on other teams. But so the talent is there, but bad coaching, bad defense.
And you can also see another thing. You can see if you were paying attention at the stats, at team stats, the Wizards are averaging 115.7 points per game. which is so much. It's just, the problem is that their defense is allowing way more than what they're averaging. It's just not good. Now,
not at all. So, I mean, that's why Bradley Beal needs, if put him on another team, you say, any other team, all other 30-plus teams in the NBA, and he would fit in nicely. It would be a star player the same way he is here, but he would get a shot at the playoffs.
As a Knicks fan, I'd love to see him on the Knicks because, I mean, we need shooting on our team.
He would be great.
We need shooting. But I think if Kevin Durant said earlier that he wanted an all-star on his team, another all-star. So if the Nets manage to pull this off, this is going to be cool.
It's going to be a runaway.
Alright, so now moving on from this topic, we have rookie sensations.
Rookie sensations, like you said. They have shown promise
Just
in their first year already through 18-plus games. There's nothing else you can say about it.
And a crazy thing is, some of these guys are late picks. And also, this is only our opinion. A lot of the NBA, I'm pretty sure, did a rookie ladder, I think yesterday. And so if you disagree with us, that's okay. This is just our opinions. Anthony Edwards isn't on this list, as you can see, but I think I'd put him at 6th. I just think that Cole Anthony, Emmanuel Quickley, Tyrese Halliburton, LaMelo Ball, and James Wiseman have just shown more than him.
Yes. I completely agree. All 5 of those guys, they've changed the teams. Not all of those teams are playoff contenders, but at the same time, they're showing promise and standing out more than anyone else.
Yes.
They're just like stat lines for Wiseman. Obviously, he's averaging over 12 points per game, over 5.5 rebounds. Doesn't sound great for his position, but he's not playing the whole game like some people. So, and that's the same thing you can say for all 4 other guys. They're not playing every minute of every game. They're rookies. And that's why their stats are lower, but compared to other rookies, these are great.
Their impact is what really like shows them that they're good. Because as a Knicks fan, I want to say Emmanuel Quickley, because Emmanuel Quickley, I don't know if people are probably going to get a little bit mad about this, maybe, that Anthony Edwards isn't there and Quickley is there. Okay, I've watched every single Knicks game this season, and Quickley, when he plays 18 minutes per game, and the impact he brings off of after Elfrid Payton gets benched, and in my opinion, he should be starting over Elfrid Payton, but we're not going to get into that right now. Emmanuel Quickley, he brings a good presence to the court. He brings shooting. The stats don't show it, but he's a pretty good passer. He has pretty good passing vision too. And yeah, I just love to see our rookie duo, Toppin and Quickley, on the court together.
Yes. So those are the rookies who have exceeded expectations.
We have some attributes.
Here's the attributes as you should see it coming on screen. Wiseman, what he's known for is post moves and defense. He has had a great year in both those. LaMelo Ball, a great passer, just like his brother.
And dribble moves. He has such a fancy play style. It's crazy. So fun to see him play. Tyrese Halliburton, I will say, I haven't watched much Kings game this year except for the one against the Knicks. Tyrese Halliburton was an absolute game changer. One of the in my opinion right now, steal of the draft. Because his ability to defend and block shots is just amazing. That's crazy. He's crazy good, man. Quickly, I'll say his oh my god, his floater, man. His floater is lethal. Absolutely.
Beautiful to watch.
He had a possession against the Celtics where he went 3 in a row floaters, just back to back to back. And Cole Anthony, if you didn't know, he hit a game winner against the Timberwolves like a few days ago. He's a great scorer. He's a streaky shooter because, at some points he can just hit shot after shot after shot. Some games he's just off, But when he's on, he's lights out, man.
So those are the rookies who stood out, and then we'll go on to 3 players in our minds. And before we talk about these other breakout stars, this is just our opinion based on stats and impact. You could say many others. Rookies, you could say Anthony Edwards has been the best rookie, but this is just our opinion. So that's why we're putting out these lists together. So
So here's our breakout
stars. It's going to be a perfect statistical list. So here are the breakout stars from the NBA this year who have shown promise that they didn't previously have. Obviously, number 1 on this list, I'm pretty sure everyone would agree with this. Colin Sexton has been
terrific.
There's no words to describe how great he's been.
He's leading the Cavaliers to this 9-9. It's crazy.
Yeah, his first 2-3, I don't know how many years, he didn't look like this. He looked like he was just a young shooter. He could shoot sometimes, was inconsistent, but this year, averaging 25.2 points per game, 4.2 assists. It's just great. Cavaliers, as we said before, were projected to finish last in the NBA, and this is what he's gotten up to.
And yeah, he had a 40-point game against the Nets in their Big 3 debut.
He almost single-handedly beat the Brooklyn Nets, who, if you didn't know, have James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving.
He did single-handedly beat the Nets pretty much.
Yeah, in overtime, he went off.
Yeah.
So on to our second player. You can also add a little bit, but he's the next player, Julius Randle. He's had a definite impact last season.
Yeah.
22 games. They were 8-24. This year they're 8-11, which is great. They would be in the playoffs if the season ended today. Not saying that they're 100% going to make the playoffs, but if the season ended today, they would be in the playoffs. He's averaged 22.5 points per game. So
another thing is, Julius Randle. He was kind of hated by all Knicks fans last year. He was just he had some sloppy moves, but this year he's proven to be that star that we needed. Leading us in. I'm pretty sure he's leading us in points, rebounds, and assists, all of them. And here he's averaging 22.5 points per game, 6 assists for a big man, which is really good, and 11.3 rebounds per game.
And he's leading the Knicks in points, and he's not a point guard or shooting guard, so big man leading your team in points.
And now this is a huge, really big surprise. I don't think anybody expected this at all. Colin Sexton was, we always thought he had potential to bring it to the next level. Julius Randle, we always said had potential. Christian Wood came out of nowhere.
I didn't even know his name. I saw this guy on the court and playing in a Rockets game. I think it was Rockets Wizards a few weeks ago. I didn't know his name, but he just looked like a 10th year in the NBA All-Star.
I don't even know. Okay, I don't even know why the Pistons they didn't re-sign this guy. He played for the Pistons. If you didn't know before this, he had like mediocre stats, nothing great. Comes to the Rockets, averaging 23.5 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, and 1.4 assists per game. That's just crazy.
For a guy that isn't known to probably most of the world who watches NBA, you should know his name by now. He's amazing this year.
Yeah, here's our impact. Like I said, last season only got 8 wins through 32 games with the Knicks for Julius Randle. Now we already have 8 wins. Cavaliers were projected to be the worst team in the league. Colin Sexton brought them to 9-9. And the Rockets lost James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and brought in multiple injury returning players. DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, and Victor Oladipo also came in. But, Christian Wood has been great. Absolutely great.
So that's going to wrap up these rookie stars.
And breakout stars.
Yeah, rookie stars and breakout stars from the season. They were just great. All 8 of those players have been great, have had an impact. Haven't just been great without an impact. They've had an impact, all 8. Now, one of our final topics we'll have today is the Utah Jazz. Taste the music.
Jazz Nation, baby. Let's go. Record 14-4. First in the NBA. This is just crazy, man. Who expected this to happen? 14-4.
10 game. They lost to your Knicks, and then now they've gone on a 10-game win streak since.
Yeah. They beat us a few days ago. So yeah. And then they go Donovan Mitchell leading the charge, 23.4 points per game. I mean, he's had games that he's had 30. He's had games where he's had like 8. But he's been a great leader for this team. Just locking down the paint though, Rudy Gobert with 14.2 rebounds per game, which is 3rd in the NBA, and 2.8 blocks per game, which is 2nd.
Every season we're gonna say Rudy Gobert, this is his best season, but that's just because he keeps improving every single year and getting better and better and better. He is one of the best big men in the NBA. You can say that. He's great all around. Not as a shooter, but I mean, in the post he's just great. So he's had those 2 players are the 2 big impacts of the Jazz this year in a 14-4 record. So yeah, that's nothing else you can say about it. It's dominant so far. And they're not just beating every team by 2 points. They're dominating most of their games.
Yeah, 113.1 points per game. 49.7 rebounds per game, which is 1st in the league. 46% field goal percentage. Pretty good. 23.6 assists per game. Not that many assists, but they have a team that has a lot of ISO players, kind of. They got Joe Ingles, Donovan Mitchell. Those guys. Jazz Nation. Let's see if they can keep it up. I mean, another thing, don't get your hopes up too much, I'm pretty sure last year they went on like a 12-game win streak too, but they couldn't close it out, do that through the whole season, but
this year obviously looks even more hopeful that if they can keep it up, I would be shocked if they reach the finals and possibly win it. So
that's a big step for them if they do, but we'll talk about, I don't know about the finals, but I think they can be a real threat in the playoffs. We'll probably make playoff predictions once a lot later down the line, way later, like once the season's over, pretty much. All right. So moving on, we're gonna right now we're gonna move on to the Q&A with the special guest, who you're gonna find out in just a second.
Okay, and we're back here with the Q&A, and today our special guest for our first NBA episode is Tyler. He does YouTube as well. We'll leave his channel, the link in the description. Go somewhere over and check his out. Does a lot of IRL, and subscribe to him. So, anyway, we'll get right to the questions. Start with some easier ones. Here, Noah, you can start off.
The first question is, how does it feel to be a Lakers fan coming off an NBA title?
Well, it feels great. I mean, we won the first one in a decade. It was pretty nice. I mean, last since Kobe, I know, R.I.P. But we also got lucky with the Clippers losing to the Nuggets, and finally, once LeBron and AD we finally got a good core team. We finally were able to win one in our first year. As you probably know, the Warriors and the Cavaliers and the Heat and the Celtics all in the last decade were one of the top teams. But at the very end, we finally got one. And yeah, that's how I think about the NBA title.
Yeah, it was it was a good series. It was Jimmy Butler tried his best, but yeah, LeBron pulled it out.
Lakers were too much. So.
Yeah. Alright, second question is, what do you think of LeBron's season so far this year?
Well, 27 points per game in like 40 minutes. But I mean, that's all right for LeBron. I mean, LeBron's an MVP caliber player, and he's doing good. I mean, the Lakers are not in the top league right now. The Utah Jazz are, so I feel like they have a little bit of work to do. They start off the season a little shaky with the loss to the Clippers there, but we definitely can do some things.
All right. Yeah. That was he's been mediocre, but you always know LeBron can just go off one game and get like 50 points. So, all right. Now, interesting question. What's your biggest surprise player in your mind this season?
Well, I really want to see, not really a player, but I really want to see this team, the Nets, all right? The Nets.
Oh, okay, yeah, basically.
They have Kyrie, KD, and James Harden now, so I don't know how that's going to mix James Harden and Kyrie, but it's a different team. I don't know about my player. There's a lot of great players, but yeah, definitely the Nets for the team.
Okay.
Fourth question. Other than the Lakers, who do you think has the best shot to win the championship this year?
Well, I feel like the Clippers, to be honest, because one, Paul George is on fire this season, and he's not looking anything like in the playoffs last year. But that could change. Clippers have a really solid team, even though they did lose Montrezl Harrell a little bit ago with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Patrick Beverley and all of those guys. So I think they have a solid chance. I know the Jazz are very hot right now, but another team that I would think of is also the Nets, because if the Nets can get their team together by the end of the season, they have the best chance, probably better than the Clippers, but right now I would think the Clippers.
Okay. Fifth question. Should the Lakers make any moves at the trade deadline? Like any players you'd want to see in a Lakers jersey?
Well, I know Dennis Schroeder has done a lot for us and all that jazz, but I really feel like we could get a better guy for him. I mean, Rondo helped us much more than Dennis Schroeder did, I think, in my opinion. But I also think Marc Gasol is not doing that much for us, neither is Caldwell Pope. That might be a little controversial, but I just feel like they're not really contributing as much as I thought they would be. So, yeah, those are the players that I think we should trade.
Yeah, Marc Gasol is pretty old right now. And Caldwell Pope is kind of like if he's shooting well, but a lot of the time he's off. So, all right, handing off to Drew for the next few questions.
Okay, so yeah, I'll do the next few. So, best NBA rookie so far that you've watched this season?
I don't know here. This is really hard to decide. I mean, LaMelo Ball on the Charlotte Hornets has been doing alright, but I haven't really watched any rookies this year because it wasn't that great. But I do think Anthony Edwards also has been doing good, and James Wiseman on the Warriors has been pretty solid.
All right.
Okay, so now we're going to move to this is a personal question. Who do you think is a better team overall, the Knicks or the Spurs?
Okay, well, first of all, this is really going to hurt someone's feelings. I know that for sure. But I feel like right now the Spurs are better, to be honest. The Spurs are definitely better right now. But the Knicks, they do have like nice player in RJ Barrett. He could be really good. So I think overall right now I would say the Spurs. But the Knicks definitely in the upcoming year definitely overtake them.
All right, that's a solid answer for both sides, I'd say.
It's not just. I was expecting more of like this team just flat out they're better. But yeah, I agree.
This is actually, that was a smart answer because one, you didn't hurt either of our feelings, and two, I mean, it's true. We have more. Spurs kind of have DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. They're pretty old. The Knicks, on the other hand, have, R.J. Barrett. They have Emmanuel Quickley as their rookie. He's been doing pretty good. Julius Randle is only like 25. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still not happy that Julius Randle's not on our team anymore. So, like, what were we doing like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, and then here, no, you can do the final question.
Okay. Final question is, what do you think is? Oh wait. Do you think the Lakers are going to win another championship this year?
Okay, look, this all comes down. This is LeBron's last year, in my opinion. He's not going to do anything nearly as good as this level this year. So this is the year that they're going to win. So I would say this year they would have a higher chance the next year than the next year or the past coming year. And they won it the past coming year. But the only thing out here we say immediately, oh yeah, yes, that's definitely they're going to win, is the Nets, like I said earlier. I mean, they have a great trio of players that if they can get together, then I don't think we can beat them. Because they have James Harden, they have Kyrie Irving, and they have Kevin Durant. No one can guard Kyrie Irving on the Lakers. I mean, LeBron can guard KD, but I mean, no one can guard James Harden either. I mean, unless you're talking about that old Celtics player that I forgot his name. He's not even good at all. He's supposed to be like a really good defensive guy. He's not even on our team anymore. But that old guy, no. I think it's definitely the Lakers and the Nets. The Clippers, I don't think so. Just because I think LeBron has one more year left in him.
Yeah.
So
I think because I mean that was a pretty hard question to answer since like a lot of powerhouse teams. I think what the Lakers would have to do to win that game against the Nets would be they really have to step up their defense and they have to just try and overpower them on the offensive side because the Nets don't have much defense in their team since they traded away like Jared Allen and stuff.
Yeah. So all your answers, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Respectable answers. So I mean that's gonna wrap things up with this Q&A. So
Yep.
obviously Tyler, his link will be in the description for his YouTube channel.
Yep, he does like gaming videos, in real life videos, pretty much everything. So that's gonna be it for today. We'll see you next week on Monday, and see ya.